Well, welcome to the Volcast number 4. Also known as the Stinky podcast, because Dad made us take all our shoes off.
And
we're in a small...
volcanic slippers.
Volcanic slippers, oh my goodness. We're in a very small room.
With no ventilation.
With very little ventilation.
Except for that little slot.
The way podcasts were meant to be recorded.
None of us are sweating, though.
Yeah, you crowd
we'll get there. We'll get there. So I'm Kat. You can also call me Adam.
This is
Go
Paul.
online.
Hot chat.
Sean or Dad.
Okay.
Either or, you know.
What you want?
Whatever you want to call me. So we're gonna move on to our first topic. Did you guys know that there was they're planning on making a Deadpool animation series?
Yeah, I heard about that actually.
Yeah, VX essentially started the process of making the series, and Donald Glover was actually going to be the director, I believe. But unfortunately, it actually got canceled, which first of all, just made me real sad.
Yeah.
Because I want to see just more and anything from Donald Glover, but it's also like Deadpool, so like that shit's gonna be great. And apparently it was canceled over creative differences.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
Okay.
Right?
Because I was just gonna question, like, millions of dollars and fans and, you know, how great Donald Glover is later, you still don't have faith in, like, a Deadpool concept.
Yeah.
Like, but the creative differences would make more sense.
I mean, that's the thing. And when I think of creative differences, was like Donald Glover like, no, like Deadpool's gotta say fuck. Right here, he's just gotta say fuck, and FX for some reason is like, no.
That's not very Deadpool-y.
It's not very like every single time I hear a movie or something is canceled because of creative differences, I'm like, okay, I wonder what actually happened.
Yeah.
I wonder what the specific point of I want this to happen in the movie, and then the people who are funding the movie or whatever is just like, yeah, no, we don't want that in the movie.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because any medium is going to be they want to do something that's going to push a message, right? And if it's not in line with their, can't show this on our Christian server, right? Then why first of all are you funding a Deadpool movie?
Yeah, well, sorry, it's a series.
A series, or right?
Animated series.
And who is it marketed towards? Because if they're trying to do Deadpool towards kids, keep Deadpool in the Ultimate Spider-Man series, which already happens, which is for kids. But like, you know, it's almost as if someone wanted to do a kid-friendly Afro Samurai series. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not the realm that Deadpool exists in, right?
Yeah.
He is batshit insane.
And
right?
That's what makes him.
And that's what everybody loves, and that's why everybody's mind was blown when we learned that the first Deadpool was going to be R-rated, and we're like, yes, like this is exactly what we want. And that's exactly what we'd want the Deadpool animation to be like, right?
Because it'd be us tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the what was it? The Hulk versus Wolverine one there, like animated movie. You ever see that one?
No.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's like a double feature. They're like part of the Marvel like animated one that's like completely brutal, like R-rated to a T. And it's like it was like a double feature of like Thor versus Hulk, and then Hulk versus Wolverine. And Wolverine's just like beating the living shit out of like that whole like I don't know what the villain name for it was, but it was like I think it was like X-23 and like Deadpool in it. But that was if you want to see a cool one, that's it.
Oh, was he fighting Abomination?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I saw it.
Yeah. Well, but I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, I'd like a, you know, doing a Deadpool anime. There you go.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Wait, no, like specific anime?
And the voice actor for Dio, Japanese voice actor for Dio, is the voice of Deadpool.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like, have you guys...
That sounds like it could be interesting.
It's like, have you guys watched that one, the Samurai Batman or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it, but I saw like the trailer for it.
Apparently it's like really high rated.
Yeah.
Like really good.
It's just really weird because I don't find the appeal of things like that. It's just like let's smash sardines and peanut butter into a sandwich, and I'm like, no, thank you.
Well, it's more.
It's just I find it to be like an odd combination of things to mash with Batman.
I see it kind of as a cool thing of like you see how Batman deals with like a new environment using only his skills and his mind, right? And it has like that super cool like it's just like an alternate form, right? It's just like a different telling of it, which is kind of like how Batman is. There's so many different versions.
And yeah, that happens with comics a lot. It's just kind of another iteration and a different story.
Like Pirate Batman.
There's a Pirate Batman.
Yes. He actually gets sent back and he becomes an infamous pirate. I'm not kidding you.
Batbeard.
Yeah.
Batman.
I think that's actually what he's called.
Oh, goodness. DC Comics. This is the kind of stuff we need for the DC cinematic universe.
We want Batbeard.
We want Batbeard.
Yeah, no, let's get a petition going.
Take note, Snyder. Just lens flare on the beard. Nowhere else.
It just, it disappoints me that DC's so up, they have their head so far up their own ass that they don't see. It's like, Marvel has literally made the formula for good Marvel movies. All you gotta do is follow that formula and you will make so much money, but you don't. You just...
And the other thing is, it doesn't seem like they want to follow a formula or like try to create a formula for a good DC movie.
Yeah.
And like this is how we want to portray our characters, and this is how we want the movies to feel, and this is how we can iterate over that feel and change it to different tones and stuff like that. Because there's like really lighthearted Marvel movies like Ant-Man, and then darker ones like, I guess Civil War is a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that Marvel gets like, because DC is always trying to be like dark, brooding, right? And it tries to take itself so seriously that you look at Marvel movies barely take themselves seriously, but that in turn makes the serious moments so much more impactful, right?
Well,
they're self-aware within their own goofy universe where it's like, in DC it's like, so you have Batman in his goofy costume and it's like everything is serious. It's not goofy that like everything is just it's annoying.
Oh, we saw a little bit of that formula. Not spend too much time on this tangent, but we saw a little bit of that formula in the Justice League movie, where characters like Barry Allen and Flash and Aquaman would have this playful banter, but it just didn't work. It was like oil and water.
Don't get me started.
Right? It was so weird.
Get me started on the shit that the Flash spewed in the Justice League movie.
Because you're like, he's trying to be the Tom Holland Spider-Man of that universe.
And it's just like, that wasn't funny. That was kind of stupid.
I was so done with that Flash the moment that they weren't going to use the TV version that they fully established already. It was like, no, we're just getting a new actor and a new Flash.
That actor's good. I mean, Ezra...
Well, yeah, but it's like...
Miller?
Yeah, it's like you could have totally utilized that. Like, instead you just made a new Flash, and it's like, what was the point of making this whole TV universe?
But Deadpool animation sadly got canceled.
Yep. Yeah.
But it sadly got canceled, and we'll just never know what Donald Glover's Deadpool animation will ever be like.
Crowdfund that, Donnie.
A moment of silence. The other thing, it's actually just really unrelated to what we just talked about, but it's related to stuff that Volcanic's doing and that we're starting to do. Have any of you guys seen the new Xanadu building?
Oh, yeah,
No.
Definitely.
No, I knew that they were moving, but I didn't see the new pics.
Yeah.
Do you know Smash at Xanadu, since you're not much of a Smash guy? Well, you know VG Boot Camp, the big Smash... Okay, well, VG Boot Camp's like, they're the biggest Smash stream. For those who don't know, VG Boot Camp, they're like the premier Smash streamers. Like, they go out and they will stream your event. That's how they make their money. They're perfect at it. And they have their own weekly series where they have their own venue called Smash at Xanadu. And it's really known for being like... because it's for MDVA region, and it's not necessarily like the top players at it, but it's full of like a lot like good skilled mid-level players.
And there's a lot of people that go to it.
Yeah, and they just bought a new venue because it used to be at a game store, and now they have like a full, like it's almost like an mini esports arena venue now.
It literally, essentially is. It's got like beautiful wood floors and perfect tables to have people to play at. And I just thought, I was like, mwah. Like that's what we're trying to do. Like, because we just started leasing our own area.
Yeah, I can speak more to that. We are in the middle of getting our lease confirmed. Like we've paid the deposit.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's just a matter of time.
It's a matter, yeah, but that's kind of what we want to do. Is we want to have that kind of building, and I guess my one concern would be, because it's the concern I face to make that place sustainable, is Xanadu going to be open all the time?
I'm not quite sure if that Xanadu building is open all the time. I do know that they're still doing the weeklies, that essentially go 4 days a week, and 4 days a week every week, one game for each day.
Yeah, because they have Melee Smash 4, DBZ Fighters, and I think I don't think they have a Marvel Infinite weekly anymore. I know they have Street Fighter 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they have, I'm pretty sure, at least 4 still. So, and then the rest is for like maintenance and stuff. But I wonder, because I don't know how they're gonna, if they still run it while they're at a different event, but they are gonna be starting to host their own events. Like they just announced Glitch, which is part of their own series.
I want to see this venue. Was it on like Gim's Twitter or?
Yeah, it should be on his Twitter.
It should be on Gimmer's Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Because like I'm actually, I went to Rupert and they have this really cool video game store called Good Time Games, and they don't make most of them. They don't make the bulk of their revenue from the product, because has cost, right? It makes it from all the events, and they kill it because a bunch of kids throughout the day come and play after school, and then at nighttime it's like full on esports hardcore, like let's go kind of mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if Xanadu is open all the time and they can get that going, I think that'd be really neat, because that's a great way to get the next generation involved too.
Yeah,
it's kind of like,
I mean, that's kind of what we want to do too. Like it'd be great if we could be open all the time and just have people come in and like do their thing and then run our events in the evening, right?
Well, that's exactly right. That's what our revenue model is going to be. It's that without going into the secret sauce.
I just have to laugh at the next generation thing, because like there's quite a few young players that are at Xanadu's, and one of my favorites is he's like this 12-year-old named Booty King. He's like my favorite player ever. He's like really, really good, and he commentates on it, and he's like he is the perfect idea of like the mindset of us, but in the body of like a 12-year-old. Is the name Booty King.
Booty King.
And of course,
legendary.
It's like the little kid who absolutely slapped the soul out of Max with his words at Clash.
I remember. I remember that.
What happened? What was
that? What did he say? Oh yeah,
Sucking.
no. They were playing Kirby Dittos. And Max does not play Kirby at all, and this kid throws some hard shade, and they're playing, and he's like, "Man, dude, you're not even good at sucking."
Was he the little ginger kid?
Yeah, no, he was.
I know. He was the one who was following Tim. He was the one who was following Tim around, going, "Let's go, Tim!" I don't remember what his name was, but he was fucking hilarious.
Oh, and that's beautiful. That's the thing. I'd love to see some D&D happening in a room nearby, and then someone's on the computers, and with our Smash setups, we just see kids like that just kicking each other's asses in Smash. And once in a while, someone like Max will jump in and just get completely decimated by words. You just see Max.
Specifically Max.
If you're watching this, Max, this is your job posting.
Get destroyed by children that come to play video games.
Full benefits. Oh man.
Like keeping on the Twitch topic and stuff, and like Xanadu and stuff. Did you guys see the Ninja and Drake stream?
No.
That happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also saw it.
That Fortnite one.
Yeah, no. First of all, Ninja is like one of the fastest growing streamers on Twitch.
Isn't he the number one? Like,
He's the
before-
number one.
He was number one before Drake, right? I'm
Yes.
pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, no, he was number one before Drake, but like he started streaming like a month, 2 months before that.
Right. Isn't he a pro player in something? Or did
he used to be a pro player, I believe.
In which league?
I believe he used to be a Halo pro, actually.
Halo. Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, like, it's insane. He broke the record for the most viewers for a single streamer, and he hit 600,000 viewers at his peak, which is absolutely insane. That's pulling, like, event numbers, like NALCS numbers and Overwatch League numbers. Like, the Overwatch League only pulls, like, 200K on the most, sometimes 300K if it's, like, a really good match. That lots of people want to watch, but like the question I want to ask is, why don't we see more celebrities on Twitch?
I just
Right?
think straight up they don't know, like they don't understand it.
You think so?
Because like we have people like Terry Crews and T-Pain who are known to be like gamers, and they're out there. I think T-Pain has mentioned Twitch or maybe done stuff on Twitch.
Oh, he
Okay.
streams still on Twitch.
But like we don't hear about it every time he goes. Most people only know it through him because they follow the T-Pain brand and like, oh wow, I'm a gamer and I like your music, right?
Yeah.
And I think straight up is that it. First of all, a lot of celebrities don't know about Twitch. They don't use it. They don't bother to use it because those celebrities are known for music and movies and media. which
So
is a
then
complete-
they're really in that sort of media hole, right?
Yeah, if like, I don't know, if Tom Holland did a thing on YouTube, we'd see him get a lot more on YouTube than Twitch, because everyone would like,
Everybody watches it.
yeah.
Literally everybody.
And that's it for, I think that's it, is that it's a new full platform for those kind of people.
Well,
I mean, Post Malone streams. I'm not sure if he streams on Twitch or YouTube, but he does stream as well.
Mhm.
And I kind of feel like we could possibly see a surgence of famous people starting to stream, because like it's literally like free money if they want it. Literally just pulling so many people, which I also find interesting, because the reason why a lot of people can make a living off of Twitch is because they got famous on Twitch specifically, just about because of professional gaming or what have you, and so on and so forth. But once you sort of like getting the general public into it, I wonder how like the Twitch landscape is going to look if something like that does happen.
I feel like they're probably a lot of the reason we probably don't see as many celebrities streaming anymore. I think it's like I also see it from the fact that they're probably all super like ridiculously busy, right? They have like a lot of stuff they have to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you're a gamer, like not everybody finds the appeal. Like if you're like Drake, right? Drake probably doesn't see the appeal. You know, he's probably busy all the time, and he has a lot of money, and he probably doesn't see the appeal of like when he wants to play a game of sitting down and performing for somebody.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's kind of where it at. But yeah, some of those celebrities who are just kind of chilling, I guess. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I know. And then also the other craze that's been happening is Fortnite, which was the game that they were playing. And the Battle Royale, I think that's the genre they've been calling it.
Yeah.
It's just like blown up. It's huge.
Yeah.
Like Fortnite is a topic that like a general person might know. Someone that knows nothing about games. And I wanna get your guys' opinion as to why do you think it blew up? Why do you think it just came out of nowhere? Just like there's been similar games. Like there was Hunger Games Minecraft.
Yeah.
I played that.
Oh yeah.
And it's essentially the same thing, right? But Daisy, right? Daisy was the thing before.
Yeah, the armor mod, yeah.
Yeah, no. But then as soon as PUBG hit, it got real popular with gamers.
H1Z1 was first for popularity.
H1Z1 was.
Oh, I guess H1Z1 was.
H1Z1 is like, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, but its popularity was still wildly up there for the small amount of time until PUBG kind of
And then
stepped on it.
yeah, PUBG got really popular in like the gaming community, but then Fortnite blew up and it's like popular in the general populace now.
Yeah.
And I think it's this multi-formula thing because, it's Epic Games. And Epic Games is this huge publisher. Bluehole is great. Like, the guy behind PlayerUnknown's kicked ass with making that project happen. But, Fortnite's it's interesting from its conception, has always kind of had this public notoriety. Because when it first came out, it was this whole, hey, Bluehole's maybe thinking of suing Epic Games for making Fortnite happen. And that was journalism food. Everyone was eating that up. You saw it on Polygon, you saw it on The Verge, you saw it on a bunch of these Game Informer stuff too. And from that point, it was already, it wasn't in obscurity. And it kind of rode that train where it's coming from this super well-known developer compared to Bluehole, who's an indie, technically. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, we're notorious, like where we had this kind of bad guy kind of feel to us, but we own the assets that Bluehole used, so we still win in the end. OMG, Bluehole, you made a mistake there. And with them having that kind of notoriety and stuff, I think the big thing was that whole Drake stream. I don't know if
Fortnite was... I think Fortnite was popular and it was starting to leak into...
It was on the come up.
Into popular culture, but then the Drake stream happened and that the bucket tipped, and now you see it everywhere. Like you see people that play professional sports doing the victory dances from Fortnite during games and during practices and stuff like that.
That's neat. That's actually so cool.
Right?
And I mean that's great because then you get to see something that, gaming is still seen with such a stigma and it's kind of pushed aside from the regular life of news and all that jazz. To see something like that come up into the mainstream so quick, wow, that's kind of special. My only wonder is how long will it last?
Well, honestly, because if I look at it, it's the fact that the game is free, it's, from what I've seen, pretty easy to run because it's a lot of more...
It's pretty simple.
It's cartoony.
Yeah, it's pretty... Because I think that's one of the appeals is I honestly find Fortnite a little bit more appealing over PUBG aesthetic-wise because it has a unique kind of cartoony art style where PUBG is kind of the bog standard realistic, but then again it's not best looking. I haven't played either of them, so this is coming from a frame of reference that's not really fair, but I also think that Fortnite, with how much it's growing, because League of Legends is still ridiculously popular, and it's still at that point where there are people who aren't even gamers, they just play League, right? That's just one of their hobbies. They don't game for a hobby, they play League for a hobby, and that's perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. And I think Fortnite, it really has the opportunity to get there. I think it could definitely, with the Drake stream and how many people are playing it, I think it could just see one of the biggest games in just entertainment, I guess.
I think at the moment it is the biggest game in entertainment. Fortnite it's the top viewed on Twitch 99% of the time now.
Yep.
It's the most watched. The only thing that I find it also interesting is that it's the most popular, and it doesn't have an esports scene really.
Yeah.
It's the esports scene is kind of starting. I know a bunch of organizations have started to put together teams and stuff like that, but there's no league. There's no really big production we see with the LCS or the Overwatch League or Dota stuff or just more prominent esports, but it's still the most popular. Mm-hmm. And all the other esports, the reason why they are so popular is because they are an esport, and that's how people enjoy experiencing this game and watching this game and stuff like that.
I see that too. Is that I think what it was is that this was it was just an entertainment form, right? It's a specific game that kind of made Twitch really big already than it was to the mainstream. Because Twitch is every gamer knows what Twitch is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you'll, even if you don't know how to broadcast or you don't know anything about Twitch streaming, you've clicked a Twitch link, right? The moment you're 8 years old and you're playing Minecraft, and that's probably what you're watching your favorite streamer on, right? But mom and dad's, like, I try to explain to regular day people about what we do, Twitch, no. But I mentioned Fortnite when I'm on my trip recently, and then people were, oh yeah, I know, my son plays a lot of that. We have a Fortnite team. It's just, wow, right?
Can I tell a story? Go for it.
Yeah,
Just a quick story
go
about
ahead.
Fortnite. So I'm working a shift. Chris could attest to this. So I'm working a shift, and a guy comes up with his son, and he's like, the son is probably about 10, 12 years old, and he needs a cable. And we couldn't understand because he just didn't feel I guess he just could not, he might have been nervous, he just could not explain what cord he needed. Finally, after some talking with him, he bought a lightning cable for an iPhone, and then the dad comes back, right? And after having a conversation, I deduced that what his son wanted to do was plug his Xbox controller into his iPhone to play Fortnite mobile.
Oh.
But I don't think because we looked up, we were like, iPhone Xbox controller, iPhone X, because I think he had an iPhone X, and there were comparisons between Fortnite for the iPhone and Fortnite for the Xbox, and Chris said he probably saw one of those images and clicked for him. But it's I would have been so mad if I was his dad. It's you're trying to not only are you trying to cheat first and foremost at this iPhone game, why would you think that an Xbox controller could be compatible in any way
with an iPhone?
there's probably some way to do it, but the technical
On the whole topic of there is some way to do it, a definitive way to do it for, I believe, $150 Canadian is to buy the Razer, released, I think, 5 years ago.
Oh no!
Really?
Yep.
The phone?
No, not the Razer
Shield?
phone. No, not the Shield either. I can't remember the name of it. It's the Razer Wolverine or something.
Okay.
It is a fully compatible controller that connects to your phone. It holds your phone, and you can connect the controller to your phone. I believe it's Bluetooth. Released, I believe, 5 years ago.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Razer already was there. And as soon as people
They
start
knew.
realizing that product is there, it's going to be huge in sales. It probably doesn't have any sales at all right now.
It's
but they kept it there.
It's the person who figured out how to. Well, because everybody would have moved to the Shield for
do it.
mobile. Because I don't know, mobile games for usually most people play simple ones.
Yeah.
I saw that somebody actually managed to make a proper converter for 3DS Smash for a GameCube controller.
Really?
Oh yeah, this was back in 2015.
Yeah.
But most people looked at it and they were like, most people playing on 3DS are so bad, or the lag is so bad. Why do you even need this advantage? Most of the people who play on 3DS are kids still, the ones who don't have the console version because they didn't really need to move on, right? And the average 3DS player is so bad. I was one of them. I know.
I was also a 3DS player.
That's where I started.
Yeah, no, that is literally where I started my Smash career, was playing Smash 4 for my Nintendo DS.
Yeah. I remember giving my brother my copy of Smash 4 for the 3DS at Christmas, and I was like, listen, I don't need this. This is yours. And that look of fire in his eyes, you mean this is mine? I don't have to, because he would share consoles from everyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That just works, because, this kid's jacked. And I'm it's a $30. For me, it doesn't matter. I bring my GameCube controller wherever I go for Smash. I have a console. I can play wherever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I totally see that. I don't want to keep us on this topic for too long, but Fortnite Mobile is such a good idea for kids, especially, because, they're on that. Mom and dad don't need to invest in a machine.
Yeah, kids play a lot on their phone these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Good stuff, Epic Games. This is why they're ahead.
Yeah,
This is why.
I'll forgive you for the last couple bad Gears of War from what I saw.
So,
Anyways, yeah.
yeah, so our next topic is some heavy hitting shit.
Oh, goodness.
Some stuff that's
Talking
been
baseball?
Oh, we talk baseball.
No,
Baseball.
nobody watches that anymore.
Baseball podcast.
Is baseball even
Baseball
a real
podcast.
sport?
I mean, there's actually a lot of baseball pros or like team heads that like own esports teams.
Yep.
Which is
basketball team.
Which like is funny because like they don't even get the public attention. Like everybody knows Rick Fox, right?
Yeah.
But nobody knows like what's a schmuck who owns like the New York, I don't know, ball hitters or whatever. I'm sorry.
It's the New York Yankees.
I've triggered everybody who wants baseball.
Triggered.
We don't have any baseball beers.
I want a shirt that says that.
But yeah, Facebook has been in the news a lot lately.
Boy.
A lot.
You're gonna get our Facebook shut down.
You're gonna get
a shut down. We're gonna get sucked.
Oh goodness.
Man.
It's insane the shit that Facebook has done. Like, the numbers specifically is 87 million people's data was shared with this analytical firm called Cambridge Analytical. And it's just like, I don't know, like, at what point do you stop, right? Because this has also brought a wave of sort of everybody's learning what Facebook, all the personal information they take from you, and there's shit like call logs for people specifically, like their phone call, not like a Facebook call on the messenger or anything, like their phone call on their phone. And like this huge scandal has led to Facebook's stock dropping, obviously their reputation dropping, and actually a lot of people have just been leaving Facebook.
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk actually deleted all of his company's Facebook presence. Like, go to Facebook, search for Tesla.
Yeah, there was even a Twitter meme about it. Someone's like, at Elon Musk, you won't delete your Facebook? And he's like, okay. And then suddenly their page was gone.
Yeah. So I want to, like, what do you guys think sort of about this? Do you think society's starting to realize how toxic and bad, like, social media can be? And maybe we're spending too much time on it as a society as a whole?
Oh, yeah.
I think you know what, that we must first take a look at MySpace. Look at the founder. He sold his company for $560 million, and he's enjoying the world taking photos. He's in obscurity. He's super rich, and he's in obscurity.
Yeah.
Now, keep that in mind, and now let's take a look at how we view celebrities and how we view each other's lives now. And, you know, if we want to know about a person, we can find them right on social media. You see that cute girl or guy you want to date, holy shit, like, I can know, right? I know
like
about them.
Yeah.
You want to get hired, your boss looks at your Facebook, looks at your social media, and sees, you know, what do you post about? If it's all that weeb shit, and you're applying for a very not so weeb job.
Fired. You
get hired and then fired.
Hired and then fired because we want to crush your dreams.
Right? So I think that people are starting to realize how bad Facebook is because it's so publicly, you know, revered as such a bad thing now. For years, we've seen how bad it is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, are you guys familiar with Zuckerberg's, and I quote, dumb fucks thing, where essentially it was when he's first starting Facebook, and he was bragging about how he got 4,000 people, the first 4,000, to share all their data and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the guy's asking him, like, why would they do that? And he's like, haha, I don't know, lol, dumb fucks.
Oh, yeah, no, I saw that.
And people knew about that. People knew that this was the guy. Okay, this is the guy who's leading the entire Facebook industry to how it is. You know, and how many shady things are going on, what's shared about you, what's being leaked, what's being sold.
Want to know what's the other really shady, like, hypocritical thing that has also happened? Apparently, all of the messages that Mark Zuckerberg has sent on Facebook,
deleted.
He's just like, hey, guys, I mean, like, can you just, like, get rid of this? I don't want anybody to see this. Like, can we just... And then it's like, I mean, you pay me, so fine. And then everybody's like, I wonder what he was talking about. And also just like, this is a gross abuse of power at this point. When it, like, considering how much power Mark Zuckerberg actually has, when you think about it, it's a lot of power, because there's a metric shit ton of information that he has that he can essentially, I mean, he can do whatever he wants with it. We've seen it from the fact that he just gave it all to this analytical firm that's been using it with, like, political campaigns and so on and so forth, and selling this data in like probably not very moral ways.
I think it's going to open up a lot of people's eyes on what they share on social media. But like, you know, Twitter and Instagram, they're not innocent either, right? And I hope that it makes people aware of what they're actually sharing. That's the thing, right? When you want to use that service right away, when it's the hypest shit ever, you're not going to read through the entire EULA.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
You're like, what's this end user license agreement? I'm just going to hit agree.
Agree.
Well, that's like almost, I think this really harkens back to, you know, remember when I think it was 2 weeks or a week and a half of all this, like, the shitstorm, and then he pretty much said, well, you signed up for it, right? That was his official response, was, you guys signed up for this. This is in the terms. Mm-hmm. That's the worst, right? That's like that contract with the devil that you really didn't want to make. It's like the episode of Simpsons where Flanders is the devil, and then like Homer needs to sign some kind of contract and stuff, and he didn't realize that contract for that food he wanted to eat meant him like losing his entire family. But it's like, it's there. Yeah. It was there.
And that's the thing, because, I mean, he's not wrong. We technically did. It's like, it's some stupid shit when you think about it, but we're not wrong. Like, do you think he should be held accountable?
Oh, yeah. Because I didn't sign up. Because that's the thing, right? We signed up to have our data shared for these purposes, right?
Yeah, to people, to network, blah, blah, blah.
Not to be sold as a commodity.
Mark Zuckerberg also did make that post backpedaling, like, saying that it was the third party's fault rather than their fault. Because the thing is that, like, yeah, we did sign up for it, but the problem is that Facebook, I'm pretty sure, does say they won't sell your information, which is exactly what was happening with this analytics company. That's where everybody's getting, right? Is because I kind of see it as like, you know, if you're giving all your info to Facebook or Microsoft, it's like, I'm not entirely worried because I know that's going to happen anyways. Like, they say, oh, we're not going to take your data. We're not going to know anything about you. It's like, bullshit.
Then why are my ads?
Like, I've signed into your computer. You know, like, every little bit of information. You know everything I type. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not naive to that fact. But, like, the fact that Facebook then was letting another company have access to it, in which they were taking the information, keeping it, and then selling it, and then using it for those terms, that was what kind of kicked off, like, okay, that there, nobody signed up for that.
And on top
that's
of that,
not you, Facebook, that's somebody else, and it's your fault.
And it's your fault. They should be protecting our data that way. I mean, like, when Apple had the same issue come up where the FBI wanted to have that direct access, you know, Apple straight up said no. Part of our whole ecosystem, our end-to-end user experience, is that we keep the data with us. And maybe the developers that want to make services for us. That's about it. And I think people also got really PO'd because of, you know, that phone access thing that was happening where if you had the Facebook app, it was also logging your call logs and your text messages.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't choose, like, Facebook SMS as your default.
Yeah, no, like, that just sounds illegal. I don't know if it is, I don't know if it's not, but that just sounds really very much super duper illegal.
Yeah. So, I don't know. He did lose $10 billion of his net worth in a night. That's last time I checked.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be very easy to recover from this.
You don't think so?
Oh, no, because, you know, it's the whole thing, right? Someone spoiled the product, and now if anyone else comes up with a Facebook killer or a clone or the better alternative, and they can even use this part of their tagline, not Facebook. We're not Facebook. It will get people.
You think, because that's honestly one of my next questions, is that do you think the amount of people that are leaving now, because I've even thought about, I'll just delete the app. I guess I'll probably keep my profile up on the site. I don't know. I don't use it too much. It's nice to have. It's another piece of information that I just, entertainment that I just click on my phone, right?
But, sorry.
But yeah, do you think all these people leaving is going to actually hurt the company in a way?
I think it'll hurt the site, but not the company as an entity. I think Facebook, because look at who they own. And even if they were okay, let's scrub the Facebook servers clean, they still own Instagram. They still own WhatsApp. They still own all these anonymous message board things. They own Oculus.
I think that it's from that thing where it really depends on how people react, because Facebook has done so much shitty things in the past that people didn't like. The average masses, Facebook stealing views and stuff for people ripping videos and putting it on Facebook, and then Facebook generating tons of money from not their content. Nobody really cared because they don't, they see a video and they just absorb it and move on, right?
Right.
I think this it's kind of an unfair situation because Facebook has a lot of tools and has a lot of reach that people even Volcanic, right? Facebook in a lot of ways is still a hub for a lot of our social media presence, and it's what I use to message a lot of my friends. They use it as their messaging app. And it's it kind of gets a little tricky because it's I'm put in a situation where morally I'd want to get rid of it, but at the same time everything, and it's just it's our own fault that we've connected everything to it. But it's at the same time it's I lose so much from doing it that it's I
think
it's frustrating.
Yeah, on that, I mean, I looked at deleting it a while ago. But I looked at it, it's okay, so then I had to create a burner account to manage the Facebook page for the company. And I need to, then what about my personal brand, right? Because, there's a personal brand. We never, I can only speak from an entrepreneurial point from this, too, is that, okay, fine. People also want to see what you're the face for, what you're doing. People will get interested if they're into what you're doing and the products you're releasing, and you have your own personal Facebook profile. It's such an easy way to advertise who you are, right? Because I only look at Facebook now as a free advertising tool for who I am and what the company does.
Yeah.
Right. And I only think Facebook, or rather Zuckerberg, will be hurt from this, because I mentioned that they own so many services. They're kind of that undead kind of company that will always sort of be there in some form.
Too big to fail, right?
Exactly.
MySpace is still around.
Right.
I mean, Hotshot, what do you think sort of about the whole thing? Do you think, it's, what do you think about the social media in general? Have you thought about deleting your Facebook account or anything like that?
Personally, I'm not really considering deleting my Facebook.
Yeah.
And the reason behind that is, sure, not everyone reads the whole end agreement, or even the people that did probably didn't understand it because they're just reading words on some
fucking wall of text,
some URL,
right?
A literal mountain of paperwork that has gone into that, so they don't understand what they're getting themselves into. But obviously, free services, your data is getting used in some way.
Yeah,
Google,
true.
You go search whatever you want into Google, and immediately your search is getting sold to whatever you searched for. It's all over free marketing like that, and you can't really prevent it. And it kind of goes back to the whole free market capitalism thing and stuff like that, which... And that's another touchy subject, but I am for free market capitalism, because if you abolish it, suddenly you give... The only way you could really do it is to give all the power to the government, and all of the opinions around the government right now are, they're controlling us too much, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But if you get rid of the government, then suddenly you're pushed into a free market system, and people don't want a free market system. So,
yeah,
it all kind of comes back into politics at that point.
That's very true. It's starting to boil down to the the cogs that make our world go round.
All right, it's like, as a Canadian citizen, like, the number one provider for my products is Silverwady Foods, Save On Foods. That's where I get all my groceries. Sometimes I go to Costco, but the majority of my produce and everything, I go to Save On. They're close, they're convenient, they're everywhere in Canada, so my Save On rewards card works everywhere. I get those points. If I took a road trip and, I was buying food there every day, I'm earning those points, and it's all across Canada. And then if suddenly some big scandal started going on with Save On Foods, well, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to eat anymore.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Of course, people need to cut back on their social media use. But
absolutely.
In some sense, it is important to the way the world is going right now. We need that sort of networking against the bad that's going on the political side. Because if people can't get that kind of information, if we start losing those hubs for information, then people become more blind to the situation than they already are.
Yeah.
It's like it's the whole thing about the echo chamber, right? Is that we've created these insulated communities that are just going to foster our own views.
Yeah.
And consistently do that.
Exactly.
And so maybe it doesn't even mean abolishing or destroying social media, but I do think it means we have to take a look at how do we restructure this, and how do we avoid something like this from happening again. I mean, we can't control who's going to get what money to lend what program to create this other app, but we do have a choice on saying, I don't agree to this. Like, I don't agree. I mean, either you don't install in the first place, or you learn how to break the system. I mean, that's kind of why Facebook has this whole white hat system. They'll give you $100 or plus if you find problems with their code, and if you play by their rules, right? Because they understand how important it is for people to play by their rules. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the world we live in is becoming a very interesting place. That is definitely for sure. But I think we're gonna move on to a different topic here real quick. It's all Chris. How are you doing for time?
47 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
We'll run through this.
That's 3:20. So.
We'll run through this last topic because it's a little bit sad, but it's also happy at the same time. And then we'll jump into Tales from the Internet, which actually have an extra long segment for us to go through, and I know Hunter will definitely enjoy it. Uh-oh.
Could give me a link for that.
Oh no, it's just it's not as interesting as last time's. I don't have any cool websites or anything. So let me just find this real quick. Unfortunately, Isao Takahata, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, the co-founder of Studio Ghibli, unfortunately he passed away at the age of 82 years old, which is sad. But I mean, Studio Ghibli goes on, and we've obviously all watched their movies, and personally I've loved so many of their movies. So I wanted to sort of like go around, and I want to hear some of your guys' favorite Studio Ghibli movies.
Top 3, if we're starting with me, Howl's Moving Castle, because of just the concept and the world it was. My Neighbor Totoro, so top 3, not
go
4.
ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, Howl's Moving Castle is gonna be top 4 actually. My Neighbor Totoro, because after I watched the movie, I like read into like the lore and what all these things mean and all the symbolism, and I was like, holy shit, this is whoa.
My Neighbor Totoro is also one of my favorites, but it's really just more because it kind of brought me back to when I was like a really, really small kid. And it brought me back in a way that I was really comfortable. Like, it didn't make me feel childish or whatever for watching this movie or anything, but it brought me back to when I was a little kid, and this feeling of wonder and amazement in seeing the world and your imagination and just what you used to be as this carefree little kid that just kind of wanted to have fun. But yeah, My Neighbor Totoro is also one of my favorite ones.
And then Ponyo, because it's another one of those really fun kind of out there movies. I enjoyed it so much because like I watched it with my siblings.
Ham.
So good. And then the last one might be a bit obscure for other people, but it was Porco Rosso, and it's
I've
about
definitely heard about it.
Yeah,
I
no,
haven't seen it.
that is my other favorite one. Porco Rosso is a great movie.
Oh, it's just all around a good time. It just at first you're like, there's a pig flying,
and he's a man.
But he's a man pig.
Man pig.
Flying the airplane. And then you're like, but it's good.
And it's just like, and it's walking. Everyone else is humans, but he's just walking, and everyone seems to be okay with this. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, I'm also okay with this.
And that's my top 4. I mean, yeah, man, love those movies.
What about you, Hotshot?
I've only ever actually seen My Neighbor Totoro, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
For the first 2, it'd probably go Spirited Away. Because, like, I have really good memories of Spirited Away. It's just, like, the classic overall. Mm-hmm. Then would be probably Princess Mononoke. Because that's just also a movie that, like, fucking scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. But I watched it tons of times. And then my favorite, actually, funny enough, is I think it was the second latest one, Where the Wind Rises. It's, have you guys heard of that one?
No.
It was actually his, like, what was supposed to be his swan song, Hayao Miyazaki, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to be his swan song, but I think he came back after it. It was in 2015. It's about the one of the most famous it's like it takes liberties. It's not an exact retelling, but it's like a romanticized telling about one of the most famous airplane designers in Japan during World War II. And you kind of get to look through this era where it's also a love story at the same time. It's honestly like, at first it was just kind of like, I wasn't sure about it, but by the end of it, I can honestly say I was like legitimately sobbing. I was just, it is a beautiful movie. I recommend watching it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that one out.
Yeah, Where the Wind Rises.
Where the Wind Rises. That sounds dope.
But yeah, those are my favorite 3. But I've liked pretty much every one I've watched. I still need to watch. I haven't watched My Neighbor Totoro. I've not watched that.
It's a good one.
I need to.
Seen Grave of the Fireflies?
Heard of that?
Great. I've not heard.
That is a super depressing one, but it's really good.
Yeah.
I got a bit through. Another good one was Secret of Arrietty, I think it was. Yeah. Secret World of Arrietty. That's based on The Borrowers, kind of, which are like those tiny people. That was they're all good.
To end off the Volcast, like we always do.
Yeah.
I do tales from the internet. Our tale that we're focusing on right now is mostly based off a Reddit thread that was posted a couple days ago, and it was, what is the most creative D&D character that you've had in your campaign? And I know Hunter has tons of stories to tell.
Okay. Well, we should start with everybody else. I need time to think about which one I want to talk about.
I'm gonna start.
Because it can't be one of mine. I think that's lame, so I gotta think of one that I've been plagued with.
So this one is by Reddit user Celtic Hazelnut. My current campaign is made entirely from characters who are new to D&D, myself excluded. So when building characters, my friend rolled mostly average stats with the exception of intelligence. So he has a -3 in that. So we basically determined that he's illiterate. During our campaign, he also referred to the DM as God as a joke. And then he kept asking questions like, all right, God, what do we do about blank? So I made a joke that it looks like his character is actually communicating with God on a regular basis. But everyone around him just thinks he's insane and will never believe him. He then got the personality trait Divine Guidance, which allows him to have a helpful hint once per campaign session, so canonically his character can communicate with God. But to everyone else, he's just talking to himself as a result of his intellectual ineptitude.
That is beautiful. That just makes me want to get started on our D&D campaign.
Yeah.
TM.
No, it really...
so many favorites from mine.
It really speaks to just the kind of the amazing things you can really do with D&D. You can really do so much with it and create really cool moments like that. Throw another quick one in here. This one is by Reddit user Lance Windmill. I've got a friend who's a weird character machine. Most recently is an orc named Sturog who believes that weapons are for cowards and beats people to death with his shield. Before that was Robert the Destroyer, a barbarian who threw ladders at people. There was $3.50, or $3.50 to his friends. A really creepy monk who could shoot vines out of his hands like Spider-Man. Interesting name.
Oh,
And
$3.50.
$3.50.
It was like the one Minotaur monk that used a used a barrel of alcohol to hit people because he was strong enough to use it as a weapon.
And of course, Justin Chandler, a shaman who saved literally all his gold to level 7 and used it to permanently enlarge and awaken his pet frog and deck it out with sweet gear.
Okay.
You got a story for us?
Okay, so there's just a couple quick ones. I'll bog them down because I can't pick between. So I have two friends. One of my friends that I'm playing with currently, his name is Gabe. He always tries to go for goofy characters, and he made a bard one time, and this was his first time playing in the actual D&D, and I made it together. He wanted to be a half-orc bard, and I was like, you know what, I'll try and make this work, right? So I helped him build it. And the intro to his character is probably the best I've ever seen, because the party, being me, a wood elf ranger, wood elf ranger, a dwarf, dragonborn paladin, and cleric. We're all just kind of walking down the street, and we see an orc in a drunken stupor being kicked out of the back of the bar, right? It's this new character, we're gonna do the thing, walk up, and the dwarf, "Oi, play us a song," right? As a goofy thing. So then he stands up intoxicated, and he's like, "You want a song? All right," pulls out his lute, and then in ridiculous fashion he strums Thunderwave on a power chord against all of us. We all roll ones, and we all roll under 10, so we all get knocked over. Our Dragonborn rolls a 1, so he just gets sent through a shop window as he flies. He's 7 feet tall. He just and so we all immediately do the only thing. We were laughing our asses off. We were but seriously, Gabe, the only thing we can do is just stand up and beat the living shit out of you. So the Dragonborn throws a lance at him. I pick him up, and the dwarf just picks up a lute and smashes him in the face. And he didn't join the party for a good 25 minutes later. We just left him bleeding on the street. He didn't. Or the one time he played the lute, the flute, and the leather boot. Those were his were his instruments.
The leather
his name was Monstrel Throg because he thought monstrel was how you pronounce minstrel. Oh. So he got a boot, and then he got one of the laces enchanted with thunder damage, right? Thunderous smite or whatever, and he was thinking right, when he strums it he'll do something. So then he decides with full vigor he's gonna go look for graffiti underneath a bridge or near back alleys. So he goes underneath a bridge, he finds a couple skids right there ready to take his money, some thugs, and then he leads them into the water, and he's like, all right, and he strums his boot, and he pushes them back and damages, and he's like, wait, why aren't they shocked? And it's because you got thunder damage, not lightning damage. He was so mad, he almost died too. Sadly, he did die to some hobgoblins later. But that was one. And then I just have one other. It was just a quick story of a friend who, decided to make... His entire character was being added as, a sergeant warrior just given to us. And he made the name. He was like, what's your name? He's, looking around the tail. Pep. He looks over the Dr. Pepper. Pep. And he did the really bad Christopher Walken impression. My name is Pep. And I just had the best moment I had with him. It's just quick. We were on a pirate boat, and one of our people in the party, she was getting mad at him for something, and she said why don't you just go walk the plank? Looks around. Which one? And she says, the one that leads into the water. The whole ship is made of planks. Do you not understand how a ship is built? like planks that lead into
So was he just rip off Christopher Walken the entire campaign?
Well, he had a few other things. Like, he had the Kirk armor from, like, Dark Souls, so his whole armor was, like, pokey and stuff, and his shield was spiky and stuff. He had interesting character. Oh, man, the fucking... Yeah, he had, like, one other one, which was a cleric, who, like, his name was, like... I can't even remember his name. It was Dilbart. That's what it was.
Dilbart.
And he was just this like really greedy old man. That was all he was. He was this greedy old man that refused to pee on any land except direct holes to the Underdark. And he would like use his club to like douse for holes that led directly. Like he would pee in a bottle or he would pee down in the Underdark. That was the only time he would do it. That was one of his character mandates.
That's like the D&D equivalent of I'm only pooping at home.
Yeah, really. Which funny enough, he got drunk with another guy in a bar one time, and they I don't know what happened, but one of the guys shit himself, and then he woke up, and then he decided to smear shit all over his chest, and then he woke up, and everybody started making fun of him, you pooped from your chest, and he was so angry. I didn't poop myself. I didn't poop out of my chest. It's not even physically possible. And they just harassed him the entire game about it. Shit tits, of course. I'm sorry.
Here's another story by Reddit user Tactician Robin. The characters were Simon and Garfunkel. It was just for a one-shot, so I don't remember all the details. I believe Simon was a gnome wizard, and Garfunkel was a Goliath fighter, or some other large race. Simon was a murderous psychopath that Garfunkel had accidentally paralyzed at some point in the past, to the point where Simon can't even speak. So he carries Simon around like a baby out of guilt, caring for him and protecting him. Simon's entire existence is seethed with rage, usually trying to kill Garfunkel and those around him, but always failing, with Garfunkel being completely unaware of Simon's burning hatred for him.
Holy crap.
When you think about it, that's actually pretty fucked up.
That's
fucked up.
Wow.
I had one really annoying character that my friend Eric made. He made one where he was a half orc, and he carried around a character called Candlelight, which was it was 4th edition, so it was a weird pixie thing that could transform into a swarm of bugs or other various things. Mm-hmm. And she was just an evil bitch, right? And he, for some reason, he had this fixation on knocking people out and then taking their teeth. So essentially, it was the whole gimmick that she was the Tooth Fairy, he was the Tooth Fairy's assistant. That whole thing left as soon as he got arrested a few times because the DM kind of needed to say oh, that's funny and all, but if you punch the captain of the Royal Guard, you're gonna get arrested. He even he was even gonna let him go as because we were in a desperate need, right, where the world was at stake. Mm-hmm. and sorry, can't you see the world is at stake? He even was going to let him go, but then he purposely escaped, went into the captain's tent, and then threatened him again. And it was buddy, this isn't my fault. He was mad because he was oh, the DM's just being unfun. It's this isn't your fault. This isn't his fault. You were being... You do not understand
This is how the world works.
I have a
This is how every world works.
Yeah.
You go punch the captain's guard, you get arrested.
With my general group of people, we've had way too many court scenes to to justify any group of people. Like I've had like moments where my one druid friend, he was playing like a gross rat man named Heath, right? He wasn't like the typical druid, he was just a greedy, like homeless, like, you know, rat person. And like they're going into Blingdenstone, Deep Gnome settlement. They hate the drow, obviously, and they're selling their weapons, and he's trying to sell a drow sword, and the Deep Gnome's like, no, don't want to buy it, right? And he's like, fuck you, buy it. No. Smashes all the stuff off his table. The Deep Gnome's like, you know, what the fuck? Get out of here. Flips the table on the Deep Gnome. So the Deep Gnome runs around the armor and kicks him in the shin, right? Really hard. And then his reaction, I'm like, okay, what are you going to do now? He's like, I pee on him and everything. And it's like, you came in here and they accepted you. It's like, hard, you know, they accepted you because you were captured by the drow before. They liked you. And now you're peeing on him because you won't buy your, I don't even think it was a sword. It was like a drow dress or something. And he starts, it's like, why?
You know, sometimes you get those kind of people in your campaign. It's like,
but you had to pee on him too.
I want to murder the first person I see as we walk down the street. And then the demon's just like, oh God,
I'll punch him.
Fine.
Brick sums that up. I punch him. What Brick? No, I punch him. Oh, it's frustrating sometimes.
I catch it.
I catch it. Oh yeah, it's like our first campaign. The barbarian Gastarn, who's like so dumb and like he's super dumb, and it's like, what do you do, Gastarn? And like the whole campaign, I would roll charisma rolls to convince him of things to give him advantages. Like my friend made his sword glow blue, and I was like, your sword's magical. Or like he kicked down a door and like one of our other party members kicked down it better and it like exploded, and I was like, Gastarn, you have the powers of like a god basically. Rolled a 20, so he like believes he's a god. And it's like we're being attacked by a wraith, and it's like, what do you do, Gastarn? I cast a lightning bolt. What? It's like, this was coming from somebody, he rolled, because this was our first game, so we kind of used magic die accidentally, so like hit point die, which you don't use because they're one-sided and bad, so you can either get nothing but 20s or nothing but 1s. He was on the opposite end, so nothing but 1s. So it's like, Aaron just looks at him and he's like, okay, if you roll a 20, see what happens. 20. So the Gastarn just like stretches his face, all his muscles, and just like shoots out a tiny lightning bolt and casts one.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm sorry. One more thing. A demon, we were getting attacked. I was playing a bard. We were getting attacked by a giant demon. And I remember it got killed by something else, like some angels or whatever. I don't know. We were scared shitless because it was like 300 feet tall. Jeez. And like, I just kind of went, right? And I rolled a deception check and everybody was like, I was just like, yeah, I used my secret weapon. And the entire time, everybody was convinced, and I would be like, like pull it out. It's like, why don't you use it? It's still recharging. I thought you said it was a day ago. Yeah, that was still a few more days. I can't use it yet. That was the. I'm sorry.
Goodness.
Okay.
Anyway, I think we're gonna end the Volcast.
Awesome.
Yep. Too much.
At that, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Next time.
Bye.